Hello, happy Thursday. It is officially October. We are in thick of the fall season now. Welcome to TinselTown Talkies. We're coming to you live from the Rant Radio Network. This is your boy Pimo. Got a special in-studio guest today, Anita Vora. Hi, Anita.
Hey, Pimo.
How you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I'm actually missing my co-host, Rasha, who's usually sitting where I'm sitting today, but she's kicking ass over on a film set today.
Very cool.
Missing her today though. But she's doing good. In any event, welcome to TinselTown Talkies. We're going to talk to you a lot about Hollywood and international cinema today. And we also have a very special guest calling in today. He'll be calling in from the desert. Very cool and clean and fun film director, film producer named Christian Sesma. He's considered one of the top up-and-coming Hispanic filmmakers out there. Worked with some amazing talent, and we'll have some good chitter-chatter with my boy Christian. But in the meantime, I first want to dedicate the show to anybody who may have been affected by today's DC shooting. A pretty sad state of events would happen under DC. So if anybody's affected by that, we send you our thoughts. Speaking of DC, I know this is an entertainment show, but if anybody's following anything politically related, we all know what's going on right now.
Yes, we do. There's a shutdown.
I know, a government shutdown. This is actually, I think, the first one that I can recall since the mid-'90s when Bill Clinton was president and Newt Gingrich had done his thing with the House in the mid-'90s. But we don't want to talk too much about the actual shutdown. What I want to talk about was a similar shutdown in the industry that happened about 5 years ago. I don't know if you remember or not, there was a writer's strike and lockout in '08.
Yes, there was.
Do you remember much about that little tussle that they had?
Well, for me, I was still out, not in LA, pursuing a different profession, so probably not as much as you.
Well, what were you pursuing back then?
I was a scientist.
Uh-oh.
But before acting came along.
Well, wait, before I talk about this writer's strike, I want to talk about your science. What were you studying?
I was doing cancer research and swine flu diagnostics.
Really? Where were you doing this at?
I was doing this at 2 different biotech companies in Orange County.
Wow. So what made you shift from that to acting?
I think it was my coming out of the closet, owning that I'm an actor and that's what I'm passionate about.
Was there a moment that you said, you know what? I don't want to research cancer. I want to entertain people.
It was a theater show that I did where I got to play a lead character, and it was just a game changer for me.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get back to this little shutdown that we had in '08. There was a 100-day strike. There was a 100-day lockdown, and it was basically between the Writers Guild of America and what have you. They were heavily involved with trying to get better rights for the writers. And that's RIGHT for their RIT, right? So during that time, content wasn't being made. And this is what's interesting to me was around that time was just before Breaking Bad had aired on AMC. Can you imagine if Breaking Bad was a casualty of the writer's strike?
I don't even think the fans would allow it.
Well, I mean, at that time...
The fans would pay money to get that show going.
But at that time, no one even knew Breaking Bad even existed.
That's true.
Right? I mean, this is before the show even came out.
Yeah, and before Netflix and Hulu and...
This is before all that stuff. I mean, it's intriguing to me because at that time in '08, people were thinking that, at least experts were thinking that there would be programs and shows that would not be greenlit, that writers wouldn't get jobs as a result of what happened over this 100-day period. And then we end up getting Breaking Bad, which took on a life of its own. And we're actually going to talk about Breaking Bad with our guest. He's a huge fan of the show. I was a huge fan of the show. Did you get to watch it at all?
You know what? I haven't seen a single episode because I am just waiting now that it's all done, that I can see it, and I can see as much as I want.
You do realize you're missing out, right?
I know. I can't wait to actually start. I've been avoiding all the spoiler alerts and everything else.
So what is your take on the show so far? I mean, from what you've heard.
From what I've heard, it's the kind of show you cannot put down. And I think that's why I've stayed away from starting it, because I know it'll be an addiction.
So is there
Speaking of drugs in that show.
Well, no pun intended, right? Or was there pun intended?
Maybe, you never know.
So I got to ask you then, do you watch much television beyond Breaking Bad? And if so, do you have a favorite show?
I'm actually curious to see there's a sitcom starting today called The Millers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sitcom comedy, and I happened to be in the audience when they were shooting that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll be great to see what they do with that. Will Arnett is behind that, and they've got some great actors on it.
Okay. Any other shows that you like besides one that's upcoming?
I've been watching Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the Black. Okay, so that is a Netflix show.
It is a Netflix show.
And Netflix has been rolling out some interesting shows recently. Our common friend is a writer for one of them.
Yes, Mr. David Paul Francis.
Yeah, if he's listening, hi, David. Have you watched any other Netflix shows, say House of Cards?
I have not watched House of Cards yet.
Okay.
But I hear great things. Have you seen it?
I have seen House of Cards. It is. I know a lot of people want to. It has its own unique fan base, and I had friends of mine who actually believed for a while that House of Cards was actually a better show than Breaking Bad.
Wow.
But then the way Breaking Bad kind of finished, kind of brought them on par. May have even given Breaking Bad a little bit of an edge over House of Cards, just a little bit. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are when you watch both shows. I'm sure at some point you will watch both.
Oh, I will.
I hope so.
I know. I feel like one of those anomalies who hasn't seen the show yet, but I know like once I start, I won't be able to stop.
Right.
So.
I want to also ask you now. You've got a couple of films that you're in that you wanted to promote. So give us a little background about those films you're working on and where can we watch them?
Okay, so I just finished 2 short films. They're both screening at the Indie Film Fest this month. One of them is produced by a group called the Cine Ladies, all run by women, all women writers, actors, producers, camera people. And that one's called No Place for Us. It's a dramatic short about war and how that affects people. And then the second short is a short called Posy, and I did some Bollywood dancing for them.
Nice. Are you a big fan of Bollywood?
I enjoy Bollywood. I enjoy meaningful Bollywood stories. I'll put it that way.
So to the average person right now who has no background of Bollywood they may have never watched a Bollywood film. How would you explain what Bollywood is and kind of just sum it up in a sentence? What is Bollywood?
Wow. Depending on which direction of Bollywood you go into, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the very traditional Bollywood is a lot like musicals.
Right.
There's a lot of song and dance incorporated in storylines and into that filmmaking. But I think Bollywood filmmaking is branching out now. It's becoming more global, the type of stories it tells. So I don't know if it's necessarily Bollywood, but the stories tend to be a lot longer.
Right. Well, have you heard the controversy of Daba or Lunchbox?
Yes, I heard that it did not wind up making it through the Oscar nomination.
Yeah, when the Indian film kind of brain trust got together to decide which film would represent the country as its official entry to the Oscars for next year, the consensus was, and this was after, keep in mind, post several major film festivals where the film had some success, the consensus was that Lunchbox would be the film that represented India and had the best chance of winning the first ever Oscar for an Indian film. But instead, the Brain Trust had selected The Good Road, which is a Gujarati film. And the film's, the people behind Lunchbox, particularly Anurag Kashyap, who was a producer and then the film's director, had pretty much went off on the media, tearing apart the Indian film judges, and there's been a big fight within the country ever since. So
talk about their own shutdown.
yeah, it's kind of their. You almost wonder now because at least from what Anurag Kashyap was saying, Anurag Kashyap, for those of you who don't know, would kind of be the I guess the Quentin Tarantino of India. He's a major voice for independent cinema. So he's not specifically, he kind of fits on what you were just describing, that he isn't your traditional song and dance routine, overly dramatic, overly long storytelling. He tells the art of storytelling. He's an independent filmmaker. And this film was supposed to be a victory for independent filmmakers in India. And so he's upset because he's like, now the powers that be in India are pretty much saying, Independent filmmakers, thanks but no thanks. We'll stick to our traditional films that we like, and so he was kind of looking at this as a shutdown of the voice, if you will, not so much a shutdown of operations.
I wish that they could put in more than one nomination. I feel like it's crazy that for the foreign category, you only get one.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, if there are two great films out there that happen to be equally as amazing, I mean, within the Oscars this year for Best Film, we may have two films with George Clooney in it that'll get nominated for Best Film. So it's totally possible to have two of the same type, or would be it film or actor, that is nominated for one category, right?
Right.
So what films are you looking forward to this week or next week or this month?
This month, let's see.
I know Gravity's coming out.
Gravity is coming out, and it was also NASA's 55th birthday.
Oh, there you go.
So I wonder if they're going to be promoting Gravity.
I'm sure that the film's release was by no mistake coming out and coinciding with the birthday of NASA. I'm sure there was a little coordination there. You'd hope so. I mean, you don't think it's coincidental that Gravity comes out at the same time as NASA's birthday? You think it's just random?
Nothing is ever random in Hollywood.
So, yeah. Nothing's ever random. Everything's good. Everything is controlled.
What about you? What are you looking forward to?
Runner. I'm a poker fan, so I gotta stick with what I like.
Yeah.
And then I was also a big fan of Machete, and the sequel's coming out, and so really looking forward to that. So I know next week's gonna be fun for me. This week Don John comes out with JGL, and
that looks like it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be funny, I think. I think it's JGL's first film since Looper.
Right.
Which Looper was an okay film. I thought it could have been better, but Rian Johnson's a good director, so you're expecting stuff from him. But I think Don John will be fine, and we'll check it out when it comes out, and we'll certainly have a review of it on this show when we're here. You listen to TinselTown Talkies. We're on the Rant Radio Network. Stay tuned, because in a few minutes we're going to have Christian Sesma join us. We have an in-studio guest with us, Anita Vora, and we'll talk to you in a few minutes. Enjoy the break.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home. At AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.agrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos español.
Are you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today. Or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. Free quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
And welcome back to TinselTown Talkies. You are tuned in to the Rant Radio Network. Coming to you live on a Thursday. We're live in Los Angeles. Hope you're all doing well today. It's a great Thursday. If you're a sports fan, you're probably not listening to us because you're probably watching the Dodgers or watching some NFL football. But if you're entertainment, you're in the right place. We got some great stuff. We had a nice talk about the writer's strike of '08. And did you know, by the way, speaking of what, there was a similar strike in Bollywood. Actually, it's more of a lockout.
Oh, when was that?
This was '09, the year
09.
after. And what happened was the producers and the theater companies had basically had a big dispute over payment. The producers were basically saying that theater distributors were taking too much money from them. And so it was affecting their bottom line. So there was a good 2 months where not a single film was being shown at all in India.
Which is crazy considering the amount of films that are constantly being made and produced over there.
So for those of you who don't know, in India, there are 14 film industries across the country, and they make 1,000 films collectively. And imagine 2 months of no blockbuster films coming out at all. Imagine going through like June and July and you can't watch Iron Man 3 or, whatever else is the big film out in any given month in the summer months. That'd be crazy, right? All because the rich people can't decide how much money they want to make. So we're going to switch from that to a sad topic. Tom Clancy, who was an acclaimed novelist, wrote some great stories which had been translated into Hollywood cinema. Had passed away 2 days ago. If you don't know, he was the creator of Jack Ryan. Stories such as Clear and Present Danger, The Hunt for Red October.
The Sum of All Fears.
Yeah, The Sum of All Fears, Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games. So he had passed away a couple days ago. And so I wanted to ask your thoughts. We're currently in a world where it's James Bond versus Jason Bourne. And the one guy who is currently being overlooked is Jack Ryan. Now, curiously enough, in December, there's a film coming out called Jack Ryan.
Interesting.
So, what's your take on the whole spy movie industry?
I think it's booming. In fact, I think the director from Bourne Supremacy, he's directing Captain Phillips.
Yes,
which is also coming out.
Yes.
So it's pretty big.
Do you have a favorite spy? Are you a James Bond guy, girl?
I'm a James Bond kind of girl.
Okay. If you had to root for Jason Bourne, why would you like him? What is it about Jason Bourne that could be appealing to you?
I think it's the intrigue.
Yeah.
It's the intrigue and the spy games. I think it's the same for both of them. It's just they come from different pasts.
Yeah, they do. So, do you think, in light of those two guys, that even with Tom Clancy's passing, do you think Jack Ryan could be a third wheel into that whole battle?
I don't see why not. I think if something's really well done and the story's told well, I don't see why not.
Did you get a chance to watch The Hunt for Red October?
I haven't.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin as Jack Ryan. That was just, you know what, you talking about spy games and the whole cat and mouse thing. That film, it was almost Bond-esque, in terms of just the cloak and dagger they played. And that was one thing that Mr. Clancy was very good at that. He was very good at getting into the nitty-gritty of naval, operations. In fact, if you watched Conan last night, Conan made a joke about how the CIA wondered how Tom Clancy knows so much about how they operate. It's almost as if Tom Clancy's in the CIA, but he's a novelist. Never was a CIA guy, never was a Navy guy, and yet he knew so much detail about all these clandestine operations.
Maybe there's some intrigue behind him.
Maybe there's stuff that we don't know about him. But here's what we do know about him. He had sold more than 100 million copies of his novels. 17 of his novels had reached number one on the New York Times bestseller list, including his most recent publication of Threat Vector, which came out last month. He has a publication coming out again this December. It's coming out December 3rd, called Command Authority. So even though Tom Clancy has passed us physically, his books are still with us. His stories will still live on, and he's come a long way from his 1984 book of The Hunt for Red October. And we'll also be looking forward to the film Jack Ryan, which comes out during the Christmas film season. So that should be fun. What's also going to be fun is who we'll have on air in a few minutes. He's way out in the Palm Desert, but he's a Hollywood junkie. He's produced or directed some very fun films, which I've had the pleasure to watch. And we'll talk about those films when he's on board with us in a few minutes. Christian Sussma. Anita, have you had a chance to look this guy up by any chance?
I did. I saw his reel. He likes a lot of action. He's very Tom Clancy.
Yeah, he's very he's very much into the 80s cheese, in a good way. I could almost see him bringing back like Top Gun. And
absolutely.
He that's what he grew up on. And we'll talk about all this when he's on air with us with the next few minutes. But he was very good at bringing in that fun excitement 80s flair, which kind of no longer exists in today's film.
It's sad. A lot of that has gone.
Yeah, a lot of that is gone. But oh well. But
he's here.
But he's here, and it's not entirely gone, because next week's film of Machete Kills has a lot of that 80s flair and cheese in there. What did you say? So have you seen the first Machete?
I haven't.
Okay. Do you know anything about it?
No, I don't.
No.
So you'll have to fill me in and some of the other people listening in who don't know.
Okay, so it's the Machete actually started off as a fake trailer in the Grindhouse film series, which was put together by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. And it was a fake trailer, and decided to make the trailer into a real film.
Interesting.
Right? And it's Danny Trejo. He's got his long hair. He looks like this badass like he is, and he's going out there and just taking the world, to storm. And it literally is your typical Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky type of film. It's just like this guy who just, everything's cheesy, over the top. You're like rolling your eyes, like, come on, that's not really gonna happen. But it's fun.
It's so bad, it's good.
Exactly. It's so bad, which is it's so good. So the sequel comes. The film did so well when it first released a couple of years ago. They just had to do a sequel. Charlie Sheen's in it, and he's not even going by his Charlie Sheen name. He's not going by his stage name.
Oh, what is he going
He's
by?
Going by his birth name, Carlos Estevez.
Oh, wow, interesting.
He's going by Carlos Estevez.
Going back to his roots.
He's going back to his roots. So he's going to be very fun to watch playing his name self. So we'll see about that film. But is there any other films that you mentioned me on the break? There was another film you wanted to see.
The Butler. With Forrest Whitaker and Oprah.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that film's actually going to be up for an Oscar, if I remember correctly.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that film should be that among many. There are several films that would actually, and we'll find out over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
It's October now; it's Oscar season, and we'll talk about this in greater depth with Christian. But there are a lot of films coming out between, say, now and Thanksgiving, which could make a pretty damn good run for best film, best actor. So I believe The Butler may just be a film that's up there. But do you know anything about the controversy that's around that film?
I do not. I didn't realize there was one.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't call it a controversy.
Are you going to stir up trouble?
Oh, that's what fun is it if you can't stir up trouble? No, I mean there were some people who just wondered about the authenticity of the subject matter, or will it just do overbearing.
Well, it's based on a true story,
right? But you know how Hollywood is.
Yeah, they like to flourish.
You take what's true and you make it like this. You always embellish what even if you have what's fact, you could take it into like stretch fact, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm actually curious what to what our listeners and our viewers will think about their Oscar choices. So we're on for another 35 minutes. If you want to talk to us after we talk to our guest in a bit, feel free to call us in. The phone number here is 855-969-7268. That's 855-969-RANT. Feel free to give us a call if you have any thoughts on Oscars, if you have any thoughts on Tom Clancy. We'll still be talking a little bit of Bollywood and Indian film later on the show, so you'll have more material to banter about with us. But yeah, if you have any thoughts on any of those things, or anything about film in general, you don't need to be limited to just what we're talking about. If you have any other thoughts in general of what you want to talk about, feel free to give Anita a call. We're here to chat with you. And you're listening to TinselTown Talkies. You're on the Rant Radio Network. And next week, our Rasha will be back. And you know Rasha personally.
I do. She's wonderful.
Yeah. What has been your interaction with her? She's a great lady, isn't she?
Yeah, she's wonderful. Both she and her husband. Her husband is a Bollywood choreographer.
Right.
And he's just as equally as wonderful as she is.
How are your Bollywood dancing skills?
They're all right. Don't do a sneaky look on your face.
I almost wish I would have put you on the spot right now and make you just start doing
or they could come to see Posey at the Indie Film Fest this month.
Where's
they
it
could
at?
check it out.
Where's the film festival
in
at?
Garden Grove, not too far from here.
Not too far from your life. It's actually very close to where I live.
Yeah. So
Wow.
how about that?
Wait, is it which movie? Can you give us more details about which movie theater, what day you're playing?
It plays October 17th through 24th. I'm not sure exactly which day at the festival, but I can put that info online. And it's a story starring Sally Kirkland. She plays a woman with Alzheimer's.
Well, I see we have
It looks like we have a caller.
So we'll go ahead and take a call. We'll see what this person has to say. Hello, you're on air with the radio. You're on the air with TinselTown Talkies. Can you hear us? Hello. No, there's no line. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, we're being duped. I see this little red line pop up like we got something.
Maybe they got a bit shy.
Oh, maybe. So we're going to take a break in a second. When we come back, we will have Christian on with us. We also have a very special song we'll be playing from a very popular Indian artist. Have you ever been to Palm Springs?
I have.
Yeah?
It's great.
Beautiful city.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, next time you're out there, you have to visit my boy Christian. He's kind of a boss out there. So you have to visit him when you're out there. And make sure you go out there when it's not
hot.
The middle. It's heat. I went out there one time in August.
Oh, that's the worst time.
120 degrees. Ouch. Just horrible. Anyways, we'll talk more about Palm Springs. We'll talk to Christian about that. You tuned in to TinselTown Talkies on the Rant Radio Network. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to Christian in a few minutes.
Your attention. When it comes to tequila, two things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number one tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior tequila. There's only number one. There's only number one. There's only number one.
Two strikes, the pitch.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Nurses Life Express provides unique apparel for all the hardworking nurses that wear many hats. It's apparel that expresses nurses' amazing, humorous, and caring personalities. After all, nurses are as influential as their united goal to help others. Nursing's not easy, but somebody's got to do it. For more information, please call 562-270-4312 or visit their website at www.nurselife.com. www.nurselyfe.com. Nurseslife.com, where nurses' lives are expressed.
Number one. Number one.
Is that a stutter or as high as you can count?
I was ordering number one. Tequila.
Everybody's asking for number one.
Great, another fancy bottle.
These guys are true artists. Never compromise integrity. They make tequila
Come
in the
on.
old-fashioned way. Never mass-produced.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying have the number one. Anything less is number two. Number one, tequila.
And welcome back to TinselTown Talkies. We're here on the Rant Radio Network. Hope you're having a great Thursday evening wherever you're at, or if you're somewhere on the other side of the world, a great Friday morning. We are now ready to talk to our guest. He's a filmmaker extraordinaire. He's one of my good friends. Done some great films. We're going to talk to Christian Sesma. He's joining us from Palm Springs today. Hello, Christian. Mr. Sesma.
Tis I, sir.
What up? How you doing? Buddy? What's going on, man?
Oh, just lounging in Palm Springs.
How hot is it over there right now?
It's actually really nice. It's like 81.
Oh, it's probably cooler than it's about as cool as it is over here. Ish.
Yeah, it's like it's like a regular day at Sherman Oaks.
Nice, nice. When are you coming to Hollywood next, man?
Tomorrow.
You coming tomorrow? You're here a lot, man.
I'm usually there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we're putting the finishing touches on my latest film, so I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably.
Nice. Well, we'll talk about your film projects in a bit. I wanted to actually just talk to you about a guy you worked with, Danny Trejo.
The guy, the man, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend, right? He's got a film coming out next week.
Machete.
Yes. Are you looking forward to it?
Because you can't say machete. You know what I mean?
No, right?
You can't say it. You have to roll your R, even though you have to roll the theoretical R on that one.
Yeah.
So you have to say machete.
I'm with you on that one.
I'm curious. Yeah, man. I can't wait to see it. That's just some crazy Robert Rodriguez bang bang shoot 'em up fun.
Right. Now, is there anything from that film or from the Machete series that you would want to incorporate into any films you're working on or will work on?
Well, to be honest, I think people that know me would really know that I literally became a filmmaker after reading Robert Rodriguez's 10-minute film school.
Right.
In 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And that really inspired me to become a filmmaker. So I would say that anything Robert Rodriguez does, I think, has an influence on me one way or another. And, I think just the kind of guerrilla filmmaking tactics and style that he does on some level will always kind of be part of kind of what I do.
Nice.
I don't know. Our recent web series, Vigilante Diaries, is kind of tongue-in-cheek like Machete a little bit,
Yeah. Okay. I want to real quick introduce you to my in-studio guest I have next to me. Her name is Anita. Say hi to Anita, Christian.
Hi, Anita.
Hi, Christian.
So she may jump in with a question.
I get what's happening.
What's happening?
You get the cute girl next to you, in-studio guest. You get the other guy to call in from Palm Springs.
Oh, well, see, when you're in Palm Springs, I couldn't ask you to come in. I couldn't ask you to drive all the way in today.
You had to pick the Tuesday-Thursday slot so he could come in.
Yeah, next time you're on a Thursday, we'll have you in.
Agree to disagree.
No, come in on a Thursday. We'll have you in, buddy.
I'm joking.
I know. So I also want to ask you now. Last weekend was the end of Breaking Bad, and the weekend before that was the end of Dexter. Have you watched both shows?
I never got into Dexter for some weird reason. Not because I didn't want to. It was one of those things where it's like at the time it started, I didn't have Showtime or whatever, and things like that. And so it just got so deep. It's not even on Netflix or anything. Is it on Netflix?
I haven't seen it.
I don't think it is.
I don't know, but thanks to Netflix, I did get into Breaking Bad like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. So are you satisfied with the ending?
Dude, he ramboed. I think so. I mean, it's like, what else? What else do we want?
What else can you ask for, right?
I mean, he Lex Luthor the whole thing. It was like, no, I'm a mad genius, and I'm going to show all you guys.
Right. You're listening to Christian Sesma. He's joining us here on TinselTown Talkies on the Rant Radio Network. Anita, do you have a question for our friend on the other line?
Sure. I also heard you are a restaurateur. Do you still own a restaurant?
Yeah, I own a restaurant with my dad and my sister. My family started it about 23 years ago, and it's called Guacamole's in Palm Springs. Very, very well known.
That's great. Do you also use it for a location in any of your film projects?
No, I haven't yet. It's kind of like a Baja Fresh style, but
okay.
That restaurant in reality got my start in the business because of I met my first mentor, and that was a customer there on the weekends from LA. She's like a really big agent, and she really took my first kind of scripts and shopped it around and really got my foot in the door that way. So I owe it all to Guacamole's.
Nice. I want to throw you a question about. I'm going to put you on the spot with making a decision. So let's say next Friday you're going to. And this is not this Friday, but next Friday you're going to the theater, and you have 3 choices to watch a film, but you can only pick one. And the choices are Gravity, Runner, or Machete Kills. Which one do you pick?
Gravity, hands down.
Really? Okay, so what's the appeal of Gravity that you want to
I'm
watch?
a huge fan of Alfonso Cuarón, man. I mean, that dude, Alfonso Cuarón is probably one of the finest filmmakers on the planet today, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's amazing, and I really have been reading the reviews, and I really just can't wait to see what he's done with Gravity. That's just a film. You know what I mean? Like, it's really like I love Machete, and I love Machete Kill. I love that series.
Mm-hmm.
But Gravity, I've been really wanting to see.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of his.
Now, speaking of Gravity, Mr. Clooney has another film coming out called The Monuments Men, coming out later in the winter. How would you handicap the Oscars in light of those 2 films? I mean, it's possible that we see Gravity and The Monuments Men as both Best Film nominees, which will have 2 Clooney films in there. How are you kind of pegging and handicapping the Best Film race this early in the game?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think it's, I also hear 12 Years a Slave is pretty unbelievable,
right.
too.
Yeah.
I heard that's kind of really head in for the Oscars as well. I don't know. It's always hard to tell, and it always comes down to the wire on kind of what it is, and it's always weird too. It's like sometimes you'll have just one in there that kind of creeps in out of nowhere and becomes like a huge contender.
Right. Okay. Again, you turned into TinselTown Talkies. We're talking to Christian Sesma, and we're going to get into some of his films now. So, Christian, talk to us a little bit about some of the stuff you've done this year. You've done a great film with David Foley. You want to talk to us about that film?
Oh, David Foley, yeah. That actually, I produced that movie in conjunction with my buddy Mike Hatton, who I've worked with over, the last since I began the film, like indie filmmaking world. So he had this really funny premise, and the title is called Live Nude Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally a raunchy 80s comedy set in a strip club. So it's like Cheers in a 1980s strip club. Super funny. Dave Foley's in it, Andy Dick, a bunch of huge adult film stars like Tara Patrick, Brie Olson, Asa Akira. So, obviously going to work every day didn't suck.
Right. Speaking of kind of 80s themed films, I got a chance to watch a couple films you did early on with Shoot the Hero and I'm Not Like That No More. Tell us about how you kind of got into making those films and how those two films can kind of help set the tone for your career?
Well, I think that, what I always say is that, I didn't have, I graduated from San Diego State, but I got my degree in anthropology, and this was before I even had an inkling that I was to become a filmmaker, right? So, when I did get that filmmaking bug and realized that this was kind of what I was meant to do, I relied upon I was always a film buff, so all my film knowledge is from the 80s. So, like, my Citizen Kane is like Aliens, right?
Nice.
And, my Clockwork Orange or whatever would be like Predator.
Yeah.
So it's like, or Goonies or E.T. or any of these huge. So that was my film school. So, like, Shoot the Hero, and I'm not like that no more. Is kind of what I consider kind of my thesis projects of kind of a self-taught filmmaker, I would say.
Okay. Now, what can you tell us about, I know this film's in pre-production, but what can you tell us about AWOL 72?
AWOL, that's not going yet, but what we are starting to do a project that we've been trying to get off the block for a couple of years that's set to go at the end of November, which is called The Night Crew.
Okay.
Which is like this kind of really bang-bang, shoot-'em-up action horror movie, which is super, super cool.
Okay.
And that will star, Luke Goss, again, who I just finished a movie called Lost Time on. That's the one I'm finishing now.
Okay.
But Night Crew is Luke Goss, Bokeem Woodbine, which he was just in Riddick. So probably we're still casting now, but we're hoping to get Danny Trejo back. Jason Mewes will probably be in that. So it's kind of calling up our old buddies and doing another movie. And back in Palm Springs this time, which I'm really excited to kind of come back and shoot in my hometown. It's been a lot of years.
Nice. So you had a chance to work with Danny and with Jason, and on screen they both have such vibrant personalities. How are they in real life? Are they anywhere close to how they are on screen? Are they different?
They're exactly the way they are.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason is definitely one of my good friends, and he's just a genuine, great-hearted guy. And we took our series and we premiered it at Comic-Con this year. So we had a huge kind of outing at San Diego Comic-Con this year with Vigilante Diaries, which he's the star of. And we just had a great time. He's a great guy. And then Danny is just, again, he's one of just the nicest guys. Super, super cool guys. Very professional. And, just a pleasure to work with all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how his career got started, right? I mean, he was in prison.
He deserves it. That's one of the guys that deserves, really deserves all that he's getting.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he's just a fun guy to watch on the camera.
Yeah, dude, and he's having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're filming another film, have you seen my guest there next to me? Have you seen what she looks like? No. Okay. You got look. I'll send you a photo of her. Would you cast her to film for us?
Why don't you text it over to me right now?
What is this? The casting couch
This is
at radio?
The casting. Yes, we're doing a casting session right here.
Right there. Take a picture.
Well, I'm not going to put it that much on the spot right now.
I'm joking.
I know. But hey, Christian, thanks so much for talking to us. Anything else you want to promote before we let you go?
Well, I guess just the last feature that should be out, sometime next year called Lost Time. It's I think it's really my best work so far. It's really, really amazing. It's a sci-fi thriller starring Rochelle Bellisi, Luke Goss, Robert Davi from Goonies, Lynn Shay from Insidious 2, Derek Mears from Friday the 13th and Predators. It has a really great cast, and it's just a really crazy alien abduction storyline. So I'm really excited to kind of show that to people.
All right, excellent. Well, we're just at the end of our segment here, but thanks for calling in, Christian. We really appreciate it. That was Christian Sesma, and we'll talk to you in a bit, and we'll join our fans in a second.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmark, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Building a custom home or business is a huge deal. For some, it's the largest project they'll take on in a lifetime. Choosing your team may be the most important part of ensuring a successful building project. Starting a project by working closely with Core Design will create what's just right for your lifestyle and your property. But selecting the right builder is perhaps the most important part of creating the team. At Core Design's customer service, quality craftsmanship, and integrity are the keys to our company philosophy. Your custom construction dreams are just a phone call away. Core Design at 213-453-1609. Once again, that number is 213-453-1609.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what will make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Koi Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural health care services, in particular through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation, research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax-deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
And welcome back to the Rant Radio Network. You are tuned in to TinselTown Talkies. This is Pimo. Got our special in-studio guest Anita here to my left. And we just had a great chat with Christian Susma, the great filmmaker out of Palm Springs. And definitely pay attention to some of his work coming out. Lost Time will be his next film out, so look out for that one that shows up. I'm going to do a shootout with you in a minute. But I do want to play a quick track for about 45 seconds. And this track has kind of been on my playlist recently because I'm a big Breaking Bad fan, and the name of this track is called "I'm a King," and I could just see this track overplaying to like a highlight of Breaking Bad. So we're gonna play about 45 seconds of that track, and then once that track is done, we'll come back and do a shootout. You ready?
Very cool.
All right. So let's get into some music. I'll be right back with you in 45 seconds.
Guess who's back? Kings of the new generation. You ain't ready for this one. It's time for me to take the crown. Let's go. I'm about to cause a scene in it, just like stormy weather. We aim to make easy meals just like heather. Gum in my palm, we spend it like big timers. We got model chicks hot like the sun, they give them good shiners. Got them moving back and forth. I got the sticky in the cube and light this shit up with a torch. Stay on the grind, cruising the mics like a Porsche. The kids got the swagger, he's pippin', yep, of course. Pocket full of pounds, converted to big dollars. Started to look down, see them others look smaller.
And welcome back to TinselTown Talkies on the Rant Network. That was "I'm a King" by Dark MC, featuring Nasif and Anan. You were making a comment about the track when we were listening to it. What were you saying
Yeah,
about
I
it?
was saying it's pretty dope. A little hip hop in there. I could easily see it.
It's kind of interesting how hip hop is kind of fused into like Indian music and Indian artists nowadays. It's kind of cool how they're doing that. So I think of that song now every time I think of Breaking Bad. I made that odd association. Speaking of association, I want to do this quick shootout with you.
Okay.
I picked 5 news topics for us to discuss, and so you're gonna read me 3. I'll read you 2, and when I read you your 2 and you read me my 3, we're gonna mention the first words that come to our mouth or our head or our mind in association with what we just heard.
Okay.
So I'll have you start off.
Hollywood Reporter reports mega mansions being built in Hollywood may run as high as $55 million.
Man, you get about 3 or 4 of these built, you might be able to fund the government again.
Or you might be able to produce a new reality show.
Oh, that too. So Miley Cyrus is going to discuss twerking and pregnancy during an SNL skit.
It's her party and she can twerk if she wants to.
All right, what you got for me? I'll leave that at that.
Demi Lovato debuts blue hair on Jay Leno's show.
Man, I wish I had some hair to dye. I got nothing to do with it, man.
If I do blue, I'll be a blue Smurfette.
You gotta do look like Smurfette. All right, so Disney's making a big push to make a big presence in India.
A new movie possibly for Bollywood princesses?
Maybe. Would you be in it?
I would hope so.
All right, what's the last one you got for me?
Sylvester Stallone reportedly rejected a Bollywood film.
Well, I guess he got knocked out too many times in Rocky to get that kind of rejection going. We'll actually talk about that more in a couple minutes.
Okay.
So before we get to that, I want to talk about Hillary Clinton. Did you know that they are actually trying to make a film for her?
Interesting. I wonder who would play her.
Well, it's funny you should ask that. I actually brought the news report here from the New York Times. So there were actually some speculation that there would be a couple of television shows based upon her. And I believe, and the movie's going to kind of parallel Mark Zuckerberg's social network and Facebook, what have you. I believe, I can't see now. I should have highlighted it because I'm trying to find now. Diane Lane, if you remember Diane Lane, she was kind of rumored to being one of the involved with the CNN documentary on Hillary. I could actually see maybe Tina Fey doing it.
Interesting.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on having a film called? And don't forget, this is not the first time Hillary's likeness would be in a film. In 1993, I believe, Primary Colors came out, where John Travolta played Bill, and Emma Thomas had played Hillary. I don't know if you ever saw that film. But what are your thoughts on having another film on Hillary coming out now, especially in light that she might be running for president in 2016?
I think it would be great, but it would be interesting, seeing her on a political trail and then doing the film after that.
Yeah,
perhaps it's a bit premature to do it before she's actually run the race just yet.
Well, from what my understanding, the film would actually be her life in law school before she became in politics, before she married Bill. And so this would be like her. It's kind of like The Social Network, where that was, Mark Zuckerberg before he created Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think these
Or even Steve Jobs.
Or even Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, where it's kind of their backstory from when they were, who they were before who they were, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting if they do release a film on Hillary, say next year or in 2015. That's right in the thick of the next presidential race. How does that affect her run? I mean, it's widely speculated she will be running for the presidency in 2016. If you're running for president, and would you want a movie about you coming out right before it?
I personally would not, but maybe she'll attract a younger demographic through this film.
Maybe that's also possible. And you wonder if it'll have the same impact on the 14 to 25 crowd as The Social Network had. So we'll see how that kind of develops. Speaking of films on female characters, there's Sunny Leone, who was the porn star turned Bollywood actress. There are reports coming out of India that Dilip Mehta and Deepa Mehta just directed
Midnight's Children,
are working to do a documentary on Sunny Leone and her journey from American porn industry to the Hindi film industry. Any thoughts on? Do you know much about Sunny Leone? Any thoughts on this film?
I actually don't know much about it.
Well, so like I said, she'd built a thriving porn career here in the United States, and then 2 years ago, she goes over to India. She stars in the popular Indian reality show Big Boss. Made a debut in the film industry a few months later, and now they're talking about actually having a documentary on her. And she's only been in Bollywood for 2 years, but
I guess it's an interesting transition to make, because typically out here, you can't go from one to the other.
Yes,
You can go
exactly.
from Hollywood to porn, but you cannot go from porn to Hollywood.
It's working for her, right?
So that's enough of an interest, I suppose, to do a documentary.
Exactly. It's even more interesting to see someone who she's Canadian by birth, so she's born in Canada, made a career for herself over here in Los Angeles, and now going to Mumbai. So it's kind of a Toronto area, northeast Canada to Hollywood, now to India. It's kind of a unique trajectory.
And interesting to
path.
see what sort of roles she would be playing now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sanjay Dutt, do you know who this guy is? Have you heard the name before?
I've heard of the name.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Sanjay Dutt is a Bollywood actor. He kind of always plays this. He's got these big, like, drunken alcoholic eyes. Like he looks
beer goggles.
He's got beer goggles. Yeah. Anyways, he was convicted of being part of a guns deal, and the guns were part of a terror blast in Mumbai about 20 years ago, and he was sentenced to a 5-year term. About 2 years into it, this week they allowed him to take 2 weeks out of prison because of his health. Do you think anybody who has been convicted of a crime, be it an actor or otherwise, should be allowed to take time off of their jail sentence for health?
I guess it would depend what his health circumstances are exactly, right?
Well, I mean, and it's also, I guess it also depends on the crime. I mean, for him, this was a firearms offense. He didn't directly pull the trigger on anybody, but there were 257 people killed in light of what he did, of his involvement in the crime. So I guess, it's a weighing of, does it matter what his health is if people are dead because of something he was involved with? And it's kind of an intriguing moral question. But he's currently on parole for 2 weeks. He actually needs knee surgery, which is what it is.
Oh,
yeah. So it's not like it's cancer or something, And I do want to finish with one more quick news item. You mentioned Sylvester Stallone. This guy made a interesting entrance into the Bollywood scene in 2009. Was had a bit role in this film called Kompakt Ishq, which starred Akshay Kumar and Kareena Kapoor. I'd say Akshay Kumar is kind of like John Travolta of Bollywood, and Kareena's kind of I wouldn't know what to call her, but anyways, he was in a Bollywood film already. It's not like he's never done anything in India, and without disclosing, there are no disclosures in the media about which film that he was offered, but he was offered a role in Bollywood. And do you think he should have walked away from Bollywood film?
I don't know. I mean, he's done so great for himself writing. I mean, he wrote Rocky himself, so I don't see why he shouldn't self-create. He could self-create his own Bollywood film.
You know who's a big fan of Bollywood? That's based out of the United States.
Who?
His name is Jean-Claude Van Damme. He loves him. So it's funny because I actually met him when he was doing Expendables 2. And he was, after the interview, he was just going on and on about how he wants to go to India and he wants to do a film out there. And, he loves Indian cinema. That's his thing.
Maybe the two of them should get together and collaborate. Maybe they could do a Bollywood spoof, a Bollywood action spoof. How about that?
Yeah, so hey, maybe Christian could direct it.
And yeah, there you go. You get the whole crew in.
You get the 80s vibe to it, and then you have Sylvester versus Jean-Claude Van Damme, just like you had in Expendables 2. That's how Expendables 2 ended, was Jean-Claude versus Sylvester. So I can't even imagine if. And the thing is, Van Damme has a following in India. People actually know who he is. I'm sure people know who Sly is.
Well, I think they like their big muscular men.
Well, they're still stuck in an era where we've kind of moved beyond, right? I mean, nowadays the American action hero is no longer big, buff, and brawny. You know, it's about Jason Bourne. He's got a
Yeah.
brain. He's slick. He's sly. He's good looking. He's, you know, it's a different game nowadays. We'll talk more about that after the break. But you tune into TinselTown Talkies on the Rant Radio Network. This is Pimo with Anita. We'll be right back.
I know there's something out there that's bothering you. You want to let people know about it. Just give us a call.
If what's bothering you is Mikey's accent, give us a call too.
That's right. I'll teach you how to speak Puerto Rican.
Do you know how to speak Puerto Rican?
Yo creo que sí.
Yo creo que no.
Again, 855-693-4897, Rant Radio Network.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home. At AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.hrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos español.
All right, and this is the end of the line for us here at TinselTown Talkies. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check us out on the Rant Radio Network, www.rantradionetwork.com. And also stay tuned for the culinary trends coming up next at 8 o'clock. And we'll see you next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good night.